bit sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Johnson.
And I'm Heather Terry.
And for anyone who doesn't know, this is our power hour of true crime where we talk about fucked up people doing fucked up shit, usually for fucked up reasons or no reasons at all.
That's right.
Because this would be crazy.
Yes. Very, very crazy.
Crazy girls.
You know what else is crazy?
Boys.
This comes out on 2025.
It does. So happy New Year, new you, motherfuckers.
New season, motherfuckers.
Yes. Another season.
Season 4.
How is it season? So we did it by year. So yes. So this is technically the 4th year of us being together. Mm-hmm. But really it's been like 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was halvesies.
Yes.
So we've been doing this for a long fucking time. Like, I just want to be like, we've been doing this for a fucking long time.
We've been at it.
We've been just
We're
crushing it.
Very profesh.
You'd think we'd probably be better by now, but
You think?
Who knows? Who knows?
We're much better than the kitchen table.
Yes. Than the way it all started.
The way, yesteryear.
Yes. So I had a freaking thought after our last episode. So I was like, I cannot forget to retract my statement from the last episode.
Yes.
I literally talked to Heather after we recorded and I was driving home and I was like, Brooklyn, lady,
Little lady,
I think you misspoke. And so here's my reasoning for that. So in the last episode, we had talked about someone choosing to be cannibalized and murdered. Mm-hmm. And that means that they chose suicide. Mm-hmm. And I never condone or support that. And if someone felt like they wanted to commit suicide, I would always say that they needed to get help. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, through that story, I guess I didn't see it because it was a choice. And it was a mental illness that drove them to that choice. Yeah. So I just wanted to openly retract my statement on being like, he chose. And it's like, well, he didn't. Yeah. Like, he should have had help to not want to be murdered and cannibalized.
Yeah, it's hard to look at it in that way when we're telling the story. So hindsight is a son of a bitch.
It sure is. Especially when you've been like knee deep in it for as long as I was. Yep.
Yeah, because it's a crazy thought.
Yes.
So I understand.
I guess in my mind too is like to get there. And the guy was so smart and successful. I just, and how many smart, successful people want to commit suicide? Right. We know that fucking statistic, sadly.
Yeah.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah. You know what's funny is before I met you, I used to do them every year and probably give up about 3 weeks in. But you are very goal oriented,
which makes quarterly goals,
which makes me want to do it because I'm like a creative squirrel. So I just run around and I'm like, I want to do all the things, but then I never like set a plan to do them. But you drive me to do that. So you're not wrong. Like the podcast. I was like, we should do it. And you were like, all right, this day. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So so I do them all the time now.
So what? I was like, I don't think you heard my question of what is your...
No, I was just saying I used to set them at the beginning of the year, but now I just set goals all the time. So I don't really use New Year's as a New Year, new me. It's like...
I always do New Year's resolutions. I just haven't like sat down and thought them through, but I think it's because the 2 hardest ones are the ones I'm focusing on. So like number 1 is I always do dry January. This year I'm performing at a pretty like major event, dancing. And so I will be dry January minus January 11th. Yeah. Because I'm fucking drinking.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm so excited for you to do that.
I'm not doing that sober-minded.
Yeah.
Because I'm a weak human.
Oh, no. You're awesome.
I'm not.
I couldn't even, I could never do that. Well, one, I can't dance, so there's that. But, even if I could dance, if I had the gift of dance, which I do not.
At the end of the day on that one, the whole thing with the podcast and us trying to really work hard to make it something, I was like, everything I want is on the other side of fear. Yeah. And if I'm terrified of doing it, then something good's on the other side of it.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I can't wait. I'm going to be like a proud dance mom in the crowd.
I'm sure you will be.
I'm going to scream so loud. You're going to be like, stop.
Yes.
I can't wait. I'm so proud of you.
The other one is quitting vaping.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know that I vape, man, I quit smoking cigarettes for 3 years. And then I started vaping, oddly enough, right before my wedding, which was in June and is now December.
This.
And I can barely breathe air without being like, my lips should be wrapped around the top of a geek bar. So I need to quit fucking vaping. That's what I'm going to do. And that's going to be the thing that's going to just burn my biscuits, grind my gears.
Our next episode that we record in January, I'm going to be like, so are you ready? You're like, I don't fucking care. Be like, hey, do you want to tell the story? I don't do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Just, okay.
Pretty much. I'm actually terrified of the first, I think it'll be harder for me to vape or quit vaping than it was for me to quit cigarettes. Because January, it was always cold and I wasn't drinking, so it made it easier. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to go outside. I vape in my t-shirt in a fucking movie theater, like a dumpster fire. I've got to get my shit together. So those are mine. And then I'm sure there'll be 1,000 other ones based off of whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Crap, if I could wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Well,
we have a big story today.
Big is an understatement. And what's shocking is that, it's not, you think there would be a lot more on it, but I think it's so shocking that, I didn't even know about it until a few years ago. And I've been obsessed with this stuff since I was probably too young to be obsessed with true crime. Right. Same. And 100%. And there's not a ton. I think it's because it's so fucked up.
I'm always blown away by what you can and cannot find on the internet as it relates to true crime. Mm-hmm. Some things are super hard to find. Other stories are like, shit fire, I know what he ate for breakfast that day. Yeah. This one is the toy box killer.
Yeah. David Parker Ray.
Yes. And not only is he the most sexually tormented motherfucking cuntwad. Yeah. I couldn't find shit. Yeah. And then I was digging through trying to double check my shit. Because I was like, how is it that this motherfuck did what he did and I can't find anything?
Yeah. For so long.
Yes.
For so long. And then a lot of people speculate and they're like, what? So even in my part, because for spoiler alert, we're doing this together. And on my part, I'm like, well, they think that. And they think I had to say.
I read.
Yeah. And
I saw. People, I'm not saying they did.
Yeah. The whole time and this whole thing is basically like a trigger warning. The entire
episode.
It's pretty wild, and it's more wild than some of the things we've talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. There's sections too. As we talk you through this, Heather obviously takes the intro and then I'm going to caboose that bitch all the way home. But there's a series of 9 to 11 years where you're just this dude's doing fucked up shit, but I have no evidence of it. Right. I have no evidence of it, but there's no fucking possible way that he wasn't doing it. Right. We don't have any names. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's truly that mind blowing that he has obviously, for anyone who knows the story, he's been arrested. He was in jail. Yep. And even with that, on property being searched with 100 FBI agents, they never found a single body.
Yeah, it's not like a small town cop or police department that never had a murder like this or something. It's
in New Mexico.
Big dogs.
And not to mention too, one of the, and obviously we're going to get into it, but
we just do this the
whole way. We just talk about it. The one thing that's also mind-blowing was the body of water that he tended to. That's where they believe that he had thrown the bodies. Mm-hmm. And that body of water is 157 feet down, I think. Yep. That's a very detailed think number.
It's in here.
But it's an impossible, you can't confirm it. You can't go down there and find out. Right. So let's get into this shit.
You want to?
Yeah.
157 feet deep?
All the way.
Oh. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you want to, David Parker Ray, the toy box killer. So my sources today, Wikipedia, Murderpedia, FBI.gov, KRQE.com. It's a news station in New Mexico, and crimelibrary.org.
Apparently, we have the same resources. Wikipedia, my fave ski, FBI.gov, fa-la-la-la. So much Christmas. Fox 13 Seattle, KRQE as well. ChatGPT, which I'm pretty sure I've been flagged on, unfortunately.
You got flagged on?
Every single time I do something on ChatGPT for the podcast, it's we think you're breaking the rules of ChatGPT because I'm asking about fucking murders.
Oh.
Google, I got my Googs on. And then that's what I have for you.
Okay.
Cheers.
You ready?
I am so ready.
All right. I don't think I am ever going to be ready. Like I'm
desensitized.
glad that, yeah, at this point, I'm like, I want to tell the story and move forward because it's so bad. Oof. Okay. David Parker Ray is obviously a name that hopefully a lot of people know, or they will know after this. We already said there's a trigger warning. So, yeah, let's just jump right in. On November 6th, 1939, Cecil and Nettie Ray welcomed David Parker Ray to the world. And David Parker Ray sounds like a guy that sings in dive bars. Like,
For sure.
Like a country's like acoustic and bad.
I never realized how Parker and Ray was going to, like, those names were going to be, like, thrown into every other thing, too. Like, someone's name has to be something with a Ray in it, or somebody's name has a Parker in it. And I'm like, are these people descendants? Or is it just oddly enough, I start hanging out with people who have the last name Maple or something. And it's like weird.
Yeah. It's like David Parker Ray. He was born in Belen, New Mexico, and his sister's name was Peggy. Now, Peggy and David didn't have like a shiny childhood, to say the least. Their dad, Cecil, was an abusive, alcoholic asshole, and he was a drifter who would just go on benders and leave and come back and forth like every 6 months or so. And when he wasn't like beating the shit out of him, he would try to bond in his own little sick way. He would show him like porn drawings that were super violent and photos on bondage when he was way too young to see this.
Oh, I'm pretty sure anyone's too young.
I mean, accurate.
I'm like, right now, if you were like, hey, look at these sexy drawings I made about somebody getting fucked in the ass with a hammer. Like, what the fuck? I'm never going to be in.
Well,
I'm never going to be down,
luckily,
no matter what age.
I will never have to. I'm never going to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I draw the line. That's what I do.
Right there.
Right. Now, like I said, in the 1940s, is probably mild-mannered compared to what you can Google on the dark web now, but still fucking terrible. And there's not a lot of info on his mom, Nettie.
What?
Yeah.
They left the woman out of the storyline?
I know. I'm surprised it just doesn't say Cecil's wife.
Right. Bizarre.
Right. But she ran to her sisters when the violence got too bad. And some people say that she was probably on drugs or alcohol. But again, the 1940s. So like you said, there's not a lot.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want you to think that we should have sympathy for him, but they had shitty childhood. So I'm not trying to say that poor him, but
yeah,
he wasn't set up for success.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Let's just say that. Nettie's sister would watch David for her because she was going through some problems a lot. So David Parker Ray was forced to have sex with his aunt. And I couldn't pinpoint the age exactly when this started to happen, but it went on for several years. And this apparently escalated into like her masochistic tendencies, and she would make him hurt her for pleasure. Yeah. Keep going. So psychologists speculate that this abuse combined with his dad shoving that violent porn at him at a young age like shaped his sexual desires. So he associated pain and torment with sex and pleasure.
Sense.
Yeah. When David was 10, he and Peggy went to live 25 miles away with his grandmother in Mountain Air, New Mexico. And apparently his grandma wasn't like the Mimi bakes cookies type. And she didn't sleep with him, but she was super neglectful and strict as fuck. Yeah.
There's no winning.
No.
We're going to tell you a lot of no winning today.
Yeah, that's right. So he was left alone a lot on their land and just to hang out. And he started finding old engines and scrapyards to rebuild. Apparently he was really good at this. And even though he was a loner, he was real creative and from engineering and mechanics at a young age. So sadly,
he's smart.
He could have applied it for good.
Well,
spoiler alert, he didn't.
Well, he had like thriving work. He had a great reputation for doing good work. So at the end of the day, if we only looked at his
day
resume, he did do good work.
Yeah,
I heard that a lot.
His night job, his secret side gig overshadowed his skills during the day. Yeah. This quickly turned him into teen journaling and drawing about his fucked up desires, though. So he took his creativity and he started doodling and journaling about wanting to capture women and create sexual pain for his own pleasure. So he kept a lot of journals about that for like hours on end.
I have always really enjoyed journaling, and I'm always like pushing the journaling experience. Yeah. And as I was reading all of this, I got really pissed off that he chose to journal and shit on my fucking positive, habit.
Yeah, I thought of you. I was like, I wonder if she could do the like journal for hours. And I know you wouldn't be wrong about this shit, but you know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
Hours?
I don't like my own head enough to be like writing for that long. Let's talk about, let me give you an update on what's going on in life. And why I feel certain ways, but like at most I would journal for like 30 minutes if I was in like a mental headspace that like I needed to get it on paper.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine doing it for hours talking aggressively about sexual deviance.
Yeah.
That's not what my journal is about.
Good.
Just so you guys know.
That's good. That's good.
That's not what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's now.
Very. Now, he's been quoted saying that he started dreaming about all this when he was 10. So, from the age of 10, like, what were you doing when you were 10 years old?
I don't know, playing in the dirt,
right?
Stubbing my big toe. I feel like I did that a lot.
You did that like 2 days ago.
In the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
I would lose like little old chunks of my toe. I never lift my feet up. My whole life, I've never lifted my feet up.
You do.
That's why I trip. I'm like over here looking at Jess. Do you remember we both tripped on that same stump? And I was like, watch out, stump. I literally went hiking with Travis, tripped on a stump, walked up to another spot, turned around, went and tripped on the same stump. Like,
you do.
I don't lift my feet up.
You do. I thought that the other night when you had your house shoes on. It was like,
just a fucking annoying poodle is what I am pretty much. I'm just clocking around. Poodle. Anyway, I was not doing that at 10.
Okay. Now, he kept this hidden until some point in 1955 when he was 15 and he actually acted on his fantasies. Oh. The crappy part about all this, though, is David Parker Ray did write about his encounters in great detail, but he only wrote about the details he cared about and wanted to relive later. There weren't names of these poor women or what he would do with them. Like, he just write what he did to them, not what he did with them after.
I know, that's really frustrating. We'll go through that throughout this whole storyline. But not only, like, he had evidence of everyone's names because he had their personal belongings. So to care so little and only focus on the act says unbelievable amounts of just the insanity that was going on in his fucking head.
Oh yeah. He would put the age that he thought that they were, and how long he had them, a few notes describing about like what he did to them. He even ranked them by their looks. Do you remember that? He said 1 was pretty, 2 was average, and 3 was if he found them unappealing.
Then why would he take them?
Fuck him. I don't know.
Like, why the fuck?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm annoyed by that.
Me too.
Crime of opportunity, I guess. But like, one thing about the sex part is usually attractive. Like, you're attracted to the person.
Yes. The 1955 journal entry lists the location of Ranch Grove, which is likely his grandma's property. It says this was his first sexual experience, I'm guessing outside the family.
Oh, gosh. Ew, I keep forgetting about that.
And, quote, they pretended it was rape, is what he wrote. He claims she liked it all, like being tied up and stuff, and it was consensual, but like...
No 15-year-old girl. Like,
it's
they're
like
talking about a young girl.
Tie me up, spread eagle between two trees.
Fucking no one.
No. She was the same age as him, too, so she was also 15. And then the next journal entry was 1956, and he said it was his first kidnapping and rape.
Oh, could you just imagine that being your first sexual experience?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Or any. But no.
Yes,
no.
any, of course, but no.
The next one says that it was a very pretty 16-year-old that was kept for a weekend at Pine Shadow Tent, which is a trail off the Manzano Mountains.
Pretty.
Mm-hmm. Investigators think that this was his first murder, and he listed all the things he did to that poor girl as well. And they think that he was young and inexperienced. He likely, this is just speculation, that he likely just started cutting her to try to see how much pain he could inflict, and she bled out, is what they think.
Oh my jeez.
Yeah. They allege that I don't know how they even came to these conclusions either. Like, it's just like historians and investigators assume that's all they can do.
Yep.
They allege that he buried her in the wilderness and she was never found. In school, he was described as short for his age. And for a male, he was like 5'6" when he was in school. And he was super shy. He wouldn't look other boys in the eye. And if girls talked to him, he would blush and look down immediately, probably because he was thinking all those crazy things in his head. Needless to say, he was bullied really hard. And again, not an excuse, but he had rage and obviously no positive adult figures in his life.
Right.
So David Parker Ray is going to high school, and his classmates thought, oh, he was just this shy kid that they bullied and he never stood up for himself. But in real life, he's actually killing people, like on the weekends in school.
A high school fucking student.
Mm-hmm. In 1957, he only wrote the year on his journal entry, so the timeline's a little murky, but he listed BLM Cave Shoal as the location and abducted and raped another unknown 16-year-old. This entry also said that, quote, Shirley helped me and we made a lot of mistakes. The girl almost got away and there were a lot of experiments performed on the girl, end quote.
Who's Shirley?
Yeah, no one knows if she survived this or who Shirley was or anything besides this.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, there weren't any police records of assault like during that time either.
Oh, I'm sure they were. I'm sure
missing.
the women were not telling at that time frame. They're not admitting that.
No,
It'd be hard enough to do it right now.
exactly.
Because I like all the facets behind it. Somebody not believing you,
Yep.
victim blaming, shaming you,
Yeah.
ripping your life apart.
It's
all the
brave
things.
to tell it now, like
Yes.
you said, let alone
back then when no one would have listened to her anyway, I'm sure.
Right.
And I'll have evidence of them not listening fucking anyway.
right. Again, Shirley and David abducted a 20-year-old college student and took her to the BLM Cave Shoal.
Like a
And-
16-year-old abducted a 20-year-old.
yeah.
Ballsy motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, this cave has yet to be discovered. Like now, like they couldn't even find it now. So it's just an old mining cave in the wilderness. They don't even know for sure where it is or which one.
So they didn't just look it through all the mining caves.
They've
in the area?
They've tried. It's just such a huge area where this was, like in nothingness. So
Yeah, but I'm just like, a mining cave would have had like
you'd think.
blueprints. Oh, for sure.
You'd think.
You have to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's just, unless it wasn't a mining cave and it was just a fucking cave that they found, then I can see how that would
Yeah,
happen.
they're speculating, but they don't
I
know for sure. It
Oh,
sucks.
my favorite word on this episode is
Oh, yeah.
speculating.
We have to call it allegedly. The journal said that Shirley set her up for kidnapping, and there's speculation of how she did this or like what she got out of it. So they think that Shirley and this girl were drinking, and she was like, hey, do you want to do some drugs, and talked her into going to this cave. Like, again, we don't know. They're just guessing.
Right.
So when they got out there, David pounced, tied her up, and then Shirley helped. And this is so terrifying to think about from the victim too. You're just like trying, like she probably just thought, oh yeah, I'm just hanging out with this friend. We're gonna go get high, whatever. Like, and then
Yeah.
that.
There's still, I mean, to hang out with 16-year-olds when you're 20,
Yeah,
there's a lot of weird in that, but we don't know shit about Shirley. So she could have been 20.
yeah. Literally.
You don't know anything.
right? And then so he told her this was one of his kinks was he told her everything he was going to do to her, and he got out his tools. He got out fish hooks and a box of needles, and they both stuck her in very sensitive areas over and over everywhere. This is another unknown victim, and sadly, it's still unsolved.
Have you ever been gotten a fish hook in you?
No.
I've had probably 3 that I can remember.
Really?
Yeah. One time I was playing around in my dad's truck and I fell forward. It was my fault. Like, I wasn't supposed to be in there, but it was raining and I forgot that there were fish hooks. Landed right on it. That one, I almost had to pull it out with the retractor in it.
How?
Another one, I was fishing with my parents and my friend didn't see me behind him and they cast the hook and got me in my face. But it just was like a light scratch. Like it didn't go
it
into
didn't
my-
go.
Right. Yeah. I've had a lot of fish hook incidences. So whenever I try not to read your notes.
Uh-huh.
So no, I didn't know a part of some of what you're saying, but I did read that part and it made me think of how many times I've fucking, but that would hurt so fucking bad. A fish hook is so strong.
Yeah.
Gosh, that would hurt so bad.
Yeah. Yes. Ugh. Anyway. Oof. Okay. And like I said, we keep having to say the speculation and all that stuff because we have to go off of his stupid fucking journals. And it's not certain if David and Shirley were romantically involved, but it's super fucking likely.
Yeah.
Because most
You don't do
sadistic
that.
duos are. Still in 1957, the couple pulled up to a 17-year-old girl stranded with a flat tire on the side of the road. After talking to her, they gained her trust. They punched her, they gagged her, they tied her up, and they threw her in their car and took her to that fucking cave. They did the same stuff as they did to the last victims, and it's unknown if she survived or not, but based on everything, it's probably not, and they still don't know her name. In freaking 1957, they found another victim. 18-year-old woman was alone at a bus stop, and they made friends with her. And we've talked about this before. Like, a man, one thing. A man and a woman, you're going to let your guard down.
Always.
And it sucks.
What fucking sucks and what like just jumps into my fucking front seat always is them breaking down the most insanely human barrier of being alive is like talking to a human.
Right.
And feeling safe.
Right.
Just trusting someone at their word.
Yeah.
And like it blows me away.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's another murder that a kidnapping that he was obsessed with, which was Colleen Stan, and I'll talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
But in that particular one, it was the dude with his wife and a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what the absolute fuck?
Yeah. Disregard for all human life in general.
And this is the issue with like us being such angry, untrustworthy people.
Mm-hmm.
Like why should we be so open and have conversations with the stranger next to you? Because they could fucking kill you.
Right. I always think about that whenever they're like, oh, they met him at a bar. You know how many people I always talk to?
Yes.
Like,
oh, it's amazing you're alive.
That
My God, how many times I've seen this little barfly flitter around a bar completely glass-eyed. And I'm like, yep, I could throw you in a car right now.
Well, sometimes you probably should throw me in a car.
I try to now, but I also don't see you doing that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. This was the fourth victim this year, and they were escalating each time. They, quote, kept the woman tied to the table with her legs folded back most of the weekend, is what he wrote in his journal.
I didn't understand the folded back, and I really didn't want to try to piece it together.
They did what's called breast bondage, and fucking Shirley pulled out this woman's pubic hair, and she was in so much pain during this whole weekend. They said that she passed out several times just from the pain in general. Again, she's still unidentified to this day, which, like, they're poor families too. Like, there's families that are missing them too, and it's just sad. So he killed 4 women in 1957, and he is still at this time only fucking 17.
Unbelievable. I had no idea he was doing this shit young.
17.
Never knew
I don't
it.
think it clicked in my brain either.
I don't know that anyone talked about this.
Yeah.
That part. I only knew about, he's called the toy box killer for a toy
reason.
box.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of anything he was doing before.
I don't think I realized the gravity of how long either.
Yeah.
Now, David Parker Ray graduated from Mountain Air High School when he was 18 the following year, and then he moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, which that is the hardest word to fucking spell.
I didn't
Like, did you have to? It's like, I kept wanting to type barbecue, but I'm thick, so that's probably why. I don't know. Like, look how it's spelled.
I know how it's spelled.
Oh,
but why
you
would that
can
want
spell
you to spell
Albuquerque
barbecue?
without looking?
No, but like, it doesn't look like...
I don't know. I'm
You know
sick
what?
and I'm hungry. That's probably why. I don't know. It looks like, look at it.
Honey, I have seen the word because I too wrote a story about Albuquerque, New Mexico. I understand.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's in
Like,
your
look at
notes.
that. Look at this word. I see
Validate me.
Okay,
Okay.
yes. It looks Albuquerque looks like barbecue.
Yes, thank you.
Golly, I just want to get through.
Now, he started working. I said it looks like I sneezed when I was typing. Okay, anyway. He started working as a mechanic, and apparently him and Shirley had split up at some time. He would work during the day and then go party at bars at night. And even though he was so fucked up with his desires, he wanted love. And he actually had a girlfriend publicly who was 17 years old, and they omitted her name from everything because nobody knows if she knew his tendencies or even cared. But after a few months, they got married in 1959. He apparently had a growth spurt when he graduated, so he went from 5'6" to 6 foot by this time. So that only helped his cause, quote unquote. Later that, I mean, like, because he went from 5'6" to then 6 foot, so he could be more aggressive and.
Oh, I thought it was because now he was a tall drink of water.
No.
For him to find that love he was searching for.
Oh, yeah, I get where you'd piece that together, but no, I just meant for that.
He never really needed his height. I feel like he drugged everyone anyway.
Right. Later that summer, he joined the army and got a job as a military mechanic and then got stationed quickly in Korea. And investigators think that this didn't stop his awful behavior because while he was over there, they don't know for sure. And he didn't journal about that part. But it was kind of like a lawless time over there. So
I also feel like if he's in the military, like a journal admitting extreme murder tendencies probably isn't a good idea because they can look in your barracks all the time.
Yeah, he can't hide that. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Not that he fucking tried to hide anything down the road either. But
that's very true. He had a few leaves from there, and when he'd come back to the States while he was overseas, and on one of the leaves, he knocked up his wife, and then their son, David Elvin Ray, was born in 1960. His wife was not amused that he had to go back overseas, and there's some speculation that she was on drugs, and she gave their son, who wasn't even a year old yet, to the state of New Mexico Department of Public Welfare while he was overseas.
Can you fucking imagine that?
Just overseas fighting for your country, probably doing bad shit at the same time, but still serving.
Just in any capacity.
And then coming back and your kid is
just was
given away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He picked winners.
Yeah. He was pissed and he filed for a divorce when he came home in 1961 and then got custody of his son back. Shortly after, he was redeployed, what was then called Fort Hood, Texas, and his son went to his mom's. And he met and married another woman in 1962. And
I don't know why they let the son go back to the mom.
That's what I
just want to raise my hands to Child Protective Services and be like, I don't think that was the right step.
I'm pretty sure I wrote his mom's, but I think it was like his mom, like David Parker Ray's mom.
But
I didn't specify.
She didn't have sex with. It was her sister.
Yeah, she was
just
a
shit mom.
Yeah, she was a
perfect.
shit mom, but she didn't fuck him. I hate that that's the basis of what we're grading as bad. We're like, well, she didn't sleep with her kid. Like that's what we just did.
Like, I can't believe how much of that this year or 2024's calendar year of a couple of Sassholes. I cannot imagine how many times I would say that a parent had sex with their kid.
Yeah,
there has been some really treacherous things happening.
Yes. Yeah. Right. He met and married another woman in 1962, and then 3 months later, they were divorced.
Nailed it.
Right. He was honorably discharged and moved to Albuquerque to begin working as a cement truck driver. In 1963, he met a 22-year-old woman at a bar and picked up a 25-year-old hitchhiker and tried out his new technique using electricity. Yeah. This asshole would literally clamp jumper cables to their breasts. And that wouldn't be enough to kill them, but basically would feel like their bodies were burning from the inside out. Like he would do it just enough.
So like getting an IUD put in.
That
is any woman who has ever had an IUD placed. It feels like your stomach is being pulled from the inside out.
Yeah.
So, yes.
The investigators don't think that they made it out alive either, especially because he was testing his limits since it was new.
I'm sure there's no way that they did. That's so sad.
He was only 23 and his rape, torture, and probable murder count was at least 10. They don't know for sure, but at least 10.
And literally going fully under the radar.
Mm-hmm. Not one of these victims were identified as they were either murdered or never found, or if they did manage to survive, they were too scared to go. They never went to the police.
Yep.
They couldn't find any. In early 1966, 26-year-old David met 18-year-old Glenda Burdine, she had a toddler, and the two had a shotgun wedding a few months later.
This dude and throwing rings on fingers. Fire.
Right?
Take a breather. You can't fuck him and not marry him.
Right. In May of 1967, Glenda had a baby named Glenda Jean Ray.
I hate her. I do not care for Glenda Jean Ray because I know about her.
Yeah. This became too much for David, and he bailed on family life to become a drifter around New Mexico and Arizona and getting odd jobs with his mechanic skills and just blending into the day-to-day life. In 1969, he moved back and started dating Glenda again. She took him back. She was like, you left us, but you can come back. That's fine. He got certified as an aircraft mechanic, and in 1970, he took a job at the Spartan School of Aeronautics in Tulsa, Oklahoma as an instructor.
He's a smart guy.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously, he got away with everything that we're telling you about.
Yep.
You can't do that and be dumb.
Right.
You also can't do that shit in 2023, I like to think. 2024, anything with whatever, our electricity, really, our internet and cameras and all that crap.
Yeah. He literally lived a double life. His kids said that he rarely got mad or yelled at them, but he was still kidnapping, raping, and torturing at least 2 to 5 women a year. They don't know for sure. In 1973, he was 33, and he kidnapped 5 different women. 2 were teenage sisters who were hitchhiking, and they went through hell with him for 5 days. 2 others he met at a bar, and he kept them for the weekend. 1 other was a 30-year-old mother who had a baby, and she'd hitched a ride with him. He took her to the location he noted as EB Tent East Side, which they think meant the east side of Elephant Butte Lake in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. And apparently this was the lake that you mentioned earlier, is 157 feet deep, and it has huge drop-offs by the shoreline, and it's covered with silt at the bottom. So that became his primary dumping ground because it's easy to hide stuff.
What?
Yes. But I love that. They moved around a few more times to Texas, where he ran a gas station, then back to Albuquerque, where he worked for the railroad. During the 1970s, he kept killing at least 2 women a year while maintaining his day-to-day life. One thing that's not normal, though, is he got close with his daughter, Glenda Jr., who went by Jessie, since she had her mom's name. He normalized his sadistic, fucked up sexual acts by showing her violent sexual images at a young age, aka what his dad did to him. He didn't hide his victims or anything with her either, but she was so young she didn't know how terrible it all was. He and Glenda Sr., however, grew farther apart, and they divorced in 1981 when he was 41, and the next year he moved to Phoenix, Arizona. He started working at a booming auto shop, and he started making a shit ton of money, more than he ever had before. In 1983, he decided to invest in a second home in a town called Truth or Consequences.
This fucking shit annoys me so bad.
Yeah, and he bought a plot of land there.
No, the name of the town.
Oh, I know.
I read this part of your notes.
Yeah. This is the real name, by the way, because there was a radio contest held in the town of Hot Springs, New Mexico.
Hot Springs. It sounds like a cool name. As a traveler, I want to go to Hot Springs. And
Hot Springs sounds bumping.
It sounds relaxing.
Yeah.
And now it's called Truth or Consequences.
Yes.
I'd move the fuck out of the town.
TOC. They call it for short. TOC.
And we're like, let's call it Talk. We'll talk. Go take a little trip to Talk.
Lil Talk sounds like a rapper.
It does.
Like on TikTok.
Yes. That's stupid. I'm not trying to disrespect the town, so my apologies. But
Lil Talk. Well, they didn't pick. They just lived there. It's not like
it was the radio. It was a radio contest. That means the town picked it.
Yeah, but I mean,
they picked it almost like. Well, here's the first thing. I bet they picked it almost thinking that they wouldn't legally change the name. Or they wanted to see like, oh, that's a funny name. But to have to live there and then write it on every envelope.
Oh my gosh. No wonder they call it Talk.
That's what I'm saying. Lil Talk.
I know. I can't even write barbecue New Mexico. So they legally changed the name of Hot Springs in 1950. And I think it was honestly because they said they would come do their famous radio show there. They had a famous radio show called Truth or Consequences. And they said they would come broadcast there as a joke if somebody would legally change their name. And then they did it. So then they had to do it. Yeah.
Bamboozled, man.
I know.
That's the...
Go talk in them. Talk in them, man.
That's the thing that blows my mind out of this whole story.
That's...
Sadly.
The things we hang on to. He hung out in Phoenix a ton, and he got in with the underground BDSM community there.
Solid.
Mm-hmm. He met a woman named Joni Lee, who was into his little wild torture kinks, and needless to say, she was his 4th wife.
See, that's the other thing. A lot of people are into that kind of shit.
Hey, go for it.
So
consensually go for it.
That's what I'm saying. So like find a safe space.
Which this was.
If that's what you want to do find
it.
somebody that's like, yeah, the harder the better.
Yeah.
You know? Don't be taking me out of my realm of my normal safe shit to your crazy. I'm pretty sure no one's going to be like, but just stab me with that fishing lure or something, you know?
You never know. If that's what they're into consensually, to each their own. Yes. Now, he started constructing his wild torture devices on his TOC property with her, but she was being a consensual participant. And it's unknown whether or not Joni knew about his criminal activity, but his bestie daughter, Jessie, knew all about it. By the time she was 19 in 1986, his daughter had even taken part in a few of these. I want to repeat that. His daughter had taken a part in a few of these because he'd raised her. She knew it was illegal, but she didn't think anything was wrong. Like, she thought it was normal. Like,
you like heard that she like, where'd you get that from?
But I don't.
That's why I'm like,
I don't know.
I just got it that she was a willing participant and was super supportive and helped him get victims.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about her like
thinking it was normal.
Nope, just that she did it and she was in it. That's why I'm like, what the absolute fuck?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because as a woman, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't either.
It's one thing, a dad to a dad to a daughter. I don't fucking get it.
I don't get it either. I don't get any of this.
I don't get
any of it at all. And like, that's my next line. There's a lot of speculation. I've said that word. If that's a drinking game, speculation is a drinking game because I've said it and allegedly 5,000 times.
And barbecue.
Because obviously they banned barbecue. It's they based a lot of the research on this was based on his fucking journals. But I did hear this yesterday on the podcast called Serial Killers, and they reported it like this next part that I'm about to say. So I couldn't find it anywhere else and nowhere else, but this is what they said. So I'm just repeating that. Jesse and David Parker Ray apparently got in a huge fight and they don't know why.
Oh, I found this on Wikipedia too.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, so that too. Good, thanks. And she was so mad that she decided that she was going to get him sent to prison because, again, she thought it was normal, but she knew that it was criminally illegal for what he was doing. So she called the FBI and spilled all the beans in June of I wrote 1896. 1986. She told them that he would kidnap them, torture them for days, and either kill them or take them down to Mexico and sell them into sex slavery. And the FBI is like, what the fuck? And for the first time, David Parker Ray was done flying under the radar. Now, he was 46 at the time and had been doing this for over 30 years. And Jesse told him about all his homemade torture devices, his huge collection of sex toys, and everything.
So apparently the FBI didn't give a fuck. Somehow,
I don't know how.
I'm about to tell you multiple touch points where multiple women went to the cops about it. Multiple times.
Oh God, I'm about to get mad.
You're about to get real fucking mad.
Wonderboy Media is not only the proud producer of this glorious magic imploring your ear holes right now, but they're also a big deal.
Get in touch with them today to make all of your dreams a freaking reality.
From using their bangin' ass podcast studio,
where we are right now,
to creating amazing videos and editing our content like the mystical mavericks they are.
Your podcast can go further when you have a Wonder Boy.
Hit up Drew today at WBOYmedia.com.
Or text him day or night at 270.
Just kidding.
Okay. So apparently the FBI only talked to him one time in like 1986 or 89. I say it in the back of my notes, but because of where you just ended, I'm going to say it now. Mm-hmm. They had talked to him about him selling BDSM stuff. That was it.
Yeah. And they said he was like open about it.
Right.
And was like, yeah, this is where I sell them. This is a P.O. box. Yep. And this is what I'm into. And
they said that the allegations were too vague for the FBI to initiate an arrest or even watch him or get a fucking warrant to search his property.
That's insane.
Or do a single thing.
That's insane.
To do a single fucking thing. Anytime there's like someone doing some fucked up shit on land, you gotta fucking...
Especially that specific. That's a very specific thing.
And it's a
then
daughter
he
calling on her dad.
And he corroborated part of it by saying, yeah, I have these and I sell them and da-da-da. Like, they should be like, oh, maybe we should check into this.
Yeah. And why they checked into him, though, only on the BDSM stuff, nothing to do with this. It wasn't this that got them to look.
Yeah.
It was something to do with that, which I still don't even get.
I don't get either.
So why would the police come up to you for selling fucking ball gags?
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry. I get it. Yeah.
But you're getting a phone call about like raping, torturing,
Yeah.
and killing women?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking fuck.
I don't, yeah.
Well, in the mid-1980s, David Parker Ray started working on what he referenced as the toy box. This torture room was a repurposed, soundproofed cargo trailer located immediately outside of his Elephant Butte, New Mexico property. He stocked the trailer with numerous sex toys, torture implements, syringes, and detailed diagrams showing ways of inflicting pain, as well as a homemade electrical generator to deliver electrical shocks to his victims. In total, it's believed that Ray spent $100,000 in the mid-80s
Oh my God.
decking out a trailer with sex toys and torture devices.
That is crazy. I can't.
So not only did he do it for 30 fucking years and get away with it,
Yeah.
now he has the means to just,
to build a torture chamber.
yep, and just continue to take women at a
God.
high level.
Yeah.
He'll continue to do what he has been doing over the course of the next 10 to 11 years with no evidence of the who, the what, the when, or the why.
Oh my God.
Ray sexually tortured and presumably killed his victims using whips, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, leg spreader bars, surgical blades, electrical shock machines, and saws.
God.
He also constructed elaborate contraptions to confine his victims. One of them was a fur-lined coffin and a makeshift pillory. Makeshift pillory. Do you know what a pillory is?
No.
I did not. I had to Google it. You know those things back in the day where it was like that clamp like this and it went with your neck and your hands like this?
Like in Bardstown?
Yep.
In front of that jail
Yep.
house?
That's a pillory. And he made one of those.
What the? Okay, this is going to blow my mind because I haven't heard the story in a long time and I knew you were doing the last part and I didn't read.
Yeah, that's the purpose of doing these stories.
No,
so we
I know.
stop.
I know. And now I'm like, God, I forgot how bad it is. It's so bad.
Yes.
Okay. Keep going. This is awful.
So I think probably the worst fucking part of it. Okay, an obstetric. To me, it's a gynecological table. Every female knows it. We all love those annual pap smears.
with the stirrups.
He paid and had one of those put in.
Oh my God.
Now, where that table was, he would strap the victims to it, but he put a mirror on the ceiling because he wanted the victims to see exactly what he was doing to them. He also put his victims in wooden contraptions that would bend them over and immobilize them while he had his dogs. And sometimes his friends raped them.
What friend? What?
What fucking dog?
What are you saying?
I told you I'm like dead inside from this one.
I'm uncomfortable.
I am too. I am too.
Okay.
I think the most fucked up part, and I don't know, I want to talk to Jess on this one. Probably should have done it before he got on the podcast. But what he did is he recorded a 43-minute video, a voice recording that he would play for the women when they became after they woke up from being unconscious. And on the tape, he would mention that he would let his victims go. Well, firstly, the video is him saying, you're in a really bad place right now. I've been holding people captive for a really long time. You're sure as hell going to hate what I'm going to fucking do to you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do so many terrible things to you. And it's 44 minutes. And I found the video, but I really don't know if I can Jess is like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. It's really bad.
It's bad. It haunted me.
It's
like
haunted.
just you saying that made my skin crawl because I've heard it too. Not the whole thing.
No,
but
I haven't
I've
heard the whole
clips
thing.
of it.
I
and
don't need enough nightmares.
I don't.
It's that bad.
This story's already that bad.
All right. So you can definitely view this link. It's going to show you the audio recording of what was essentially received from the victims whenever they woke up. This is one of the most aggressive trigger warnings. There is by no way, shape, or form are we saying that you should definitely listen to this. But if you're a true crime fanatic and it's something that you want to understand the story to really put it all into perspective, feel free to click the link below. So he did mention, though, that he would let some of his victims go. Like he would drug them with barbiturates so that they had like this amnesia effect and that they wouldn't be able to report the assaults if they went to the cops. And so that did give some of the women hope that there was a chance that they would be the one to be let go. By the way, he does let some women go. By the way, they do go to the cops. By the way, the cops do nothing.
What?
He said, quote, "I get off on mind games. After we get completely through with you, you're going to be drugged up real heavy with a combination of sodium pentothal and phenobarbital. They are both hypnotic drugs that will make you extremely susceptible to hypnosis, auto-hypnosis, and hypnotic suggestion. You're going to be kept drugged a couple of days while I play with your mind. By the time I get through brainwashing you, you're not going to remember a fucking thing about this little adventure." That would be a part of the video. Cindy Hendy met David Parker Ray in 1997. So you ended in 1986. I'm in 1997.
Oh, God.
All that time later.
Cindy Hendy?
Huh?
What's her name again?
Cindy Hendy. While living in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. And I literally wrote, I swear I can't get over how stupid that fucking name is. Like the one before was a treat that literally feels like you should go visit. Like that is a visit Owensboro. That is a visit Hot Springs. Fuck this stupid name.
Springs.
At the time, Hendy was working at the State Parks Department, where Ray also worked as a mechanic and a maintenance man. Their relationship quickly escalated. Dun, dun, dun. But unlike his other relationships, he did not marry this one.
What? Fifth time's not a charm?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Cindy's motivations for her involvement with David Parker Ray were complex and likely rooted in her background, her personal history, and her relationship with Ray. She had a history of trauma and abuse. She reportedly experienced a difficult upbringing, which included neglect and abusive relationships. There's also a chance that she was desensitized to violence and seeking a sense of power or control, which she may have found in her partnership with Ray. She also had a criminal past before she ever met him, which was mostly theft and drug use. So her moral compass was already a bit skewed. And you know that when you've gotten in trouble with the law more than once, it seems a little easier to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You are a repeat offender. Mm-hmm. Ray was known to be highly manipulative and charismatic. He was capable of exerting control over people. Hendy, who had already had
She did?
Yeah, she had
Wow.
She had vulnerabilities due to her past, and she may have been drawn to his dominant personality and these promises of this shared adventure with their criminal activities. It may have given her a sense of power and control that she lacked in her life. Assisting him allowed her to feel like she was part of something larger, even though it's terrible what it was.
Ew.
Even though she was an active participant in Ray's crimes, there's speculation that she might have been at least partially coerced or afraid of him.
Who knows? She was younger than him, right?
I don't even know what her age. She was definitely younger than him, but I don't know what her.
I feel like there was a significant age difference between them.
She looked a lot younger than him, and he looked hella fucking old.
And her stepdad molested her, and her mom kicked her out when she was 12.
Well, apparently Heather knows.
I just know. Well, I just think, that.
Yeah.
Daddy is.
All of it.
Speculation.
And then they also mentioned too, being in a relationship with someone like Ray could have been like this dynamic where she felt unable to resist or escape his influence. Not to mention self-preservation in all things in life. And when you grow up with like a troubled childhood, self-preservation is all you fucking have. That's all you know. That's all you ever learned.
Yeah.
You never learned to care for anyone else, which is likely the same thing as David Parker Ray. If you have bad parents not teaching their kids the most basic interactions of being a human being, you're destined to set them up for failure.
Yeah.
My big thing too, again, is I'll never understand how a woman can do this to another woman. My morality meter has not been fucking blowing people away with its greatness my entire life. There's been at least a solid 15 years where I was a cuntwad, and I'm not proud of it. But
you weren't this level of cunty.
But there's like it blows me away the woman on woman hate crime in this. Like, I don't know if I can say hate crime. I don't know what the definition of a hate crime is. But the fact that whether it was Jesse, his daughter, or Cindy, his girlfriend, or Shirley, these women doing this to other women.
It's bizarre.
How is there not some form? I know that we suck at fucking lifting people up. We're always like, women have been so bad at lifting people up in media. They try to pin women against each other. All this bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just fucks me up knowing that women were participating
Willingly.
Yeah. Motherfuckers. For whatever reason, Cindy Hendy has entered the chat and is a massive participant in the journey ahead.
Maybe they didn't get married so she could keep her dumb last name. Cindy Hendy.
Okay.
That's
David Parker Ray would kidnap about 4 or 5 women a year, holding each of them captive for around 2 to 3 months.
Jeez.
The amount of torture to occur over that amount of time is obviously heartbreaking to even consider.
That's so sad.
They have no idea how many victims he had, or with or without Cindy Hendy's active participation. The number the cops have landed on, though, is 60. 60 mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, besties, wives.
It's so sad.
The magnitude of how many people, and we have no fucking understanding of who,
right,
is unbelievable. There's a few instances of who they suspect was just this is the smallest fucking bullshit baby bird feeding motherfucking total of what really happened.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that just freaking sucks. Okay, so Billy Ray Bowers, this is what I was saying, because everyone, this many people I'm going to talk about, they all had a name associated with, like, that tied into his.
Billy Ray.
Makes no sense. Billy Ray Bowers was 53 and he disappeared from Phoenix, Arizona on September 25th, 1988. On September 28th, 1989, a year and 3 days later, the body of a man wrapped in a blue tarp was found by a fisherman at McCrea Cove at Elephant Butte Lake in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. Yes, a man, because he also killed men. No identification was found on him, and it was determined that he had been shot in the back of the head. He wasn't identified until March of 1999.
Oh, geez.
When they made dental record comparisons after Homeboy's arrest. So back in 1986, Bowers was a co-owner of Canal Motors, which was a used car business in Phoenix, Arizona. The owners had employed Ray, who worked as a mechanic and was described as very talented, but also fought a ton with Billy Ray Bowers. And here's the instance of how cocky and confident he had gotten in his life that he basically executed this guy because he didn't like him. And Billy Ray was a co-owner of the fucking place he worked for. So he killed his boss because he didn't like his boss. Then we have a young 22-year-old Jill Suzanne Troia. I think I'm saying that right. Please don't attack me. Who was last seen at the Frontier restaurant in the 2400 block of East Central in Barbecue, New Mexico. I read that in the late evening, which ChatGPT says is between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. I don't know if that's right, but I didn't know what late evening was. I feel like we all have different definitions. Yeah. On September 30th of 95, she had gone to a bar with friends earlier, then went with her girlfriend, Glenda Jean Jessie Ray.
No.
When they left to go to the restaurant. Witnesses reported Glenda and Jill argued, and Glenda later told police she had left her friend Jill at the Frontier restaurant and left with her father, David Parker Ray. I don't know about that one because I'm like, who the fuck is hanging late night at the bar with her dad?
Mm-hmm.
That felt kind of weird, but I'm also like, if Dwayne Maple wanted to grab his overalls and a flannel and go have some cold beers with me, I'm in.
Yeah.
So Dad, if you want to go have some drinks, I'm in for it. Supposedly Glenda and her dad went to the Elephant Butte Reservoir in southern New Mexico. Sadly, Jill Suzanne Troia was never seen again. In that weird ass journal, Ray wrote detailed accounts of sexual tortures and burials of victims, including one in which he described an Asian woman who fit Jill's description. Among the possessions associated with victims was a 2-page letter dated June 1990 to a young woman named Connie from an Australian man named Mark. According to Ray's journal, Connie was a white woman that he abducted and murdered in December of 95. She was 18 years old and had long blonde hair, a birthmark on her chest, and was 5'3". The Australian Federal Police and FBI conducted an investigation hoping to locate Mark, but they weren't able to identify Connie and her family and friends. But they tried to do it, but they weren't able to, which is so fucking sad. Her remains have not been located or linked to an existing unidentified missing persons case. How sad. So, like, I guess Mark had
18.
written a nice, like, 2-page letter to his boo bear. And she probably had it in her purse when she was abducted.
18 years old.
Where'd you? Yeah, I was like, wait.
You said that.
I did say that. I was thinking Mark. I was like, where did I say Mark's age? They didn't find Mark.
You looked at me, you're like, how did you know that?
Where did you find that?
like, I
Which
don't-
is pretty much what I've been doing, messaging you for the last like 3 days on this story. Where did you find this? You're like, I swear I found it. I'm like, I can't fucking find it. I've never felt like less of a private investigator than I did on this story.
Right?
I was like, you are not a good investigative journalist.
Yeah.
Sylvia Marie Parker, she was 22 and she was a homeless woman living on the shores of Elephant Butte Lake, who was an acquaintance of Ray's via his daughter. And then he also supplied her with meth and coke. Sylvia was also the mother of 2 children and was living with them in a tent she had borrowed from David.
Oh, God.
Mother of the year. The police later discovered that Sylvia's boyfriend at the time was Dennis Yancey. Did you see anything about a Dennis Yancey?
That name sounds familiar, but I didn't go.
Well, he was one of David Ray's playmates.
Ew.
She disappeared on July 5th, 97, when she was abducted and subjected to several days of torture before his accomplice, David Yancey, strangled her to death under orders by Ray. Peep this shit. David Yancey took police to where he had disposed of the body with David Parker Ray and Jesse Ray, but the body had been moved. And so Yancey suspected, and then also the cops agreed with this, that fucking David went back and moved the body again in case Yancey fucking had a change of heart. And that was by the way, that was his girlfriend. So it was his girlfriend
God.
that he then raped with his friend and then murdered because his friend told him to and then hid the body.
I don't
know.
I don't want to do this
It's like,
anymore.
what kind of evil is out there? Like, that was your girlfriend.
This is insane.
Everything sucks.
I don't want to do this anymore.
So, well, get over it. So this is really disgusting. And this one is such a bummer bear. I feel really bad for this guy named Ralph Tudor, who was a 61-year-old El Paso resident who decided to go fishing at 10:30 a.m. on June 30th of 99. Once more at our favorite lake. Elephant Butte Lake is also a great drinking game name, as I have said that myself 17 times. Caught on Tudor's fishing line was an 80-pound gunny sack filled with what he thought was animal flesh. The sack was split along its seam. Do you know what a gunny sack is? I got a lot of things. I got a lot of words to inform people.
Gunny sack?
A gunny sack. A gunny sack is similar to what you would have seen in a Wild West movie where they would have put a shit ton of rice in it. Like a woven brown sack.
Okay.
Yep.
Like
a woven brown sack.
Okay. Like potato sack
Yeah.
rice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
I need you
but
to get on my
yes.
level. You're like in a Wild Western with rice. I'm like, nah, I don't watch Yellowstone. I don't.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna say I have no idea how long it took him to like realize this was a human body. Like, because of the mess of what the fuck I'm about to fucking tell you. He called the authorities, but the gunny sack was determined to contain human flesh, no organs or bones. This meant that the unidentified victim was mutilated and dismembered before being dumped in the lake. Allegedly, word of the hour, Ray said, the thing to do is cut them down the belly, scoop out their guts, fill the chest cavity with cement weights, and then use baling wire to wrap them up.
What?
So it would sink to the bottom. Furthermore, state police found bone fragments in the same lake belonging to a human leg in 2011. They know it was a female. Couldn't match it to anyone who was missing. Cynthia Vigil. This bitch. She's about to be the hero of the story. She was a sex worker who was abducted by She was not abducted by a parking lot. Fuck. She was abducted in an Albuquerque parking lot by Ray and his girlfriend, Cindy. I got to watch the news article, like the news show.
Clip.
There we go.
The news article. You got to watch it.
I sound like your dad trying to figure out the podcast. By the way, I love you, Jerry. Okay, so in her interview, she said she broke every one of her rules that night. So one thing she always said was to never get in an RV. I wasn't sure of the reason for this because I feel like if I was going to get paid to do some sex stuff, give me a traveling car. I mean, traveling house.
Yeah.
Sounds like it would be a more comfortable experience.
All of them travel.
You know what? Not really. I've seen a few broke down on the highway. No. And for whatever reason, she was like, don't get in an RV. Don't get in a trailer.
Yeah.
And she goes, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking that day. She didn't say fuck because it was a news article on the video. But she was literally like, I don't know what it was, but I kept breaking my rules.
Yeah.
And Cindy wasn't visible.
It wasn't the woman breaking her guard down.
Yeah,
like
she was not visible. Yeah, she was not visible.
Yeah.
As soon as she got in there, she started having a really bad feeling and went to open the door. Like she literally turns around and grabs the door handle to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
That's when David Parker Ray says Cindy, which confused the fuck out of her because her name was Cynthia.
Yeah.
And her nickname was Cindy.
Oh.
So she reacted purely because her name was Cindy Hendy's name.
Oh.
That's like her being like Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, I don't go by Brooke, so please nobody call me Brooke. But
yeah,
I would have reacted to it and been confused.
Yeah, for sure.
So she fucking comes out of nowhere and hits her with a cattle prod. Yep. She was confined to the trailer and she was tortured. After 3 days of captivity, Henny got a phone call and was excited about it. I think it was something about like new business or something. She takes the phone call while she had been in the trailer and walks away. Fucking leaving the keys on the table.
The keys to
the, oh, by the way, their sex slaves they put a collar around them with padlocks and then also on their like ankles or their wrists.
God.
So she left the keys within like distance and she ran and grabbed the keys. She was on the second key to unlock when bitch came back in. She takes the lamp that was right next to her. Cindy takes the lamp and starts to beat Cynthia with it.
No.
Cynthia grabs an ice pick and stabs her with it. Then grabs the keys back, unlocks herself, and runs away. Pausing.
Run.
I read that she, like, in one thing, they said they stabbed her in the neck with an ice pick. I don't think you survived that. And Cindy Hendy was arrested. So then when she was talking, Cynthia, she said when she started to grab her head, that's when she had bolted.
Yeah.
And so she runs out in New Mexico, fucking barbecue, New Mexico, got all this open space. Yeah. And she is running. She runs and she gets to the road. Yeah. At the road, a woman drives by. Her window's cracked. She runs up to the window and she's like, please help me. Please help me. Keep in mind, Cynthia Vigil is completely naked with a collar around her neck. Yeah. And her hands and blood all over her. Yeah. She, like, when she was explaining, she was like, there was just so much blood. She said blood 3 times in a row. Yeah. So you can only assume lots of blood.
Just getting, yeah. Because
when she explains it,
you can't trust anybody. So you'd like have to drive away and like, because you don't know what's behind her.
We've talked about this so many times. That's exactly what So firstly, the woman was terrified. And she drove off. And Cynthia was like, it was too much for anyone to see. Yeah. Like she said, it was too much for anyone to see. And I understand. Yeah. The bigger issue isn't only that, it's who's chasing them. Yeah. Who is coming? Where did you just escape from? And who the fuck would be following you? Right. That would be the concern. Mm-hmm. And that, like,
you pull over, you get shot or whatever. You don't know.
Right.
You don't know.
100%. We see it in all the horrible fucking shows where it's like someone just walks up and they're like, oh, do you need any help? And they get shot. And it's like, what the fuck?
It's sad, but it's true.
So Cynthia it was an iron slave collar and padlock chains. So I want you to understand like the severity of what that was. Yeah. Then she keeps running. She's like, oh shit. And she's terrified. And she finds a house that had a light on. She runs straight through their front door. I go, you fucking go, girl. The front door was unlocked and she ran right through it. The interviewer was like, what did you see? She goes, an old woman or older. I don't know. But it sounds like these were like, this feels to me like she was in her mid 60s. Like in my mind, what I've imagined, they're in their mid 60s.
Okay.
And they're precious baby angels. This older woman was washing her dishes. She runs in. She's like, I need your help. And she goes, okay. And the husband, right whenever she had run in, the husband goes, I heard something. And he runs in, and this woman's staying naked in the living room.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's coming to get me. They're going to come get me. So he's like, she said the woman was so calm that it calmed her down. She goes, babe, will you go get a robe? They cover her up. He locks the door. They call 911 and they tend to the woman.
Wow. I couldn't imagine that.
Me
Just
either.
Being in your kitchen and then that runs in your house and to not react.
Right. Oh my gosh.
In a negative way. Like, good for them.
I don't know. I feel like with you and me in this instance, because we have read so much of these things, I feel like we would be really great victim advocates.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if some crazy shit happened, I'd be like, I've trained my whole life for this.
Yeah.
I've read 7,000 stories about this.
Yeah.
Here's what we got to do.
Suit up.
My gosh. I don't know where I was because I feel like I was just telling you that shit.
You were.
Okay. I literally put in there, I always hope if a situation like this happened that you'd be able to handle it the way that this couple did.
Right.
Her escape led police to the trailer and to capture David Ray Parker and his accomplices, which fucking shocks me that he had any playmates.
That's, ugh.
I hate the word.
I do too.
Once the arrest happens, another victim named Angelica Montano, she came forward with a similar story to that of Cynthia Vigils. She said she had been held captive by Ray after Hendy invited her to the house to pick up a fucking cake mix.
What?
Fucking cake mix.
She went to
her friend's house to get cake mix. Her friend was fucking Cindy Hendy. Motherfucker. Fucking gets captured.
Bake a cake.
Just trying to get a fucking fluffy cake. Just trying to hit that sweet tooth. Trying to make it work. After being raped in Port...
No, I was like, I got it. Sorry. You can't be funny and then say that the next
It's a true crime comedy, so there's really not much more I could have done.
And scene. Here I go.
Yes. After being raped and tortured, Montano convinced the pair to release her along the highway. She was picked up... Get ready. Buckle up. Fucking buckle up.
Buckled up.
She was picked up by an off-duty law enforcement officer after being raped and tortured.
Okay.
He doesn't believe her and drops her off at a bus stop.
Shut the fuck up. You're lying to me right now.
No.
Don't lie.
He does. Not only does he not believe her, doesn't take her to a hospital, doesn't take her to the police station. He drops her off at a bus stop.
Asshole.
Yes. Not only that, can I inform everyone again? Not only did that happen to her, she then called the police and told them
this, and then what?
They didn't do anything. They
Why
never followed
not?
up on the rape and torture charges of this guy.
Why not?
Do your fucking jobs.
Okay. I didn't.
Right?
Yes.
Do your fucking job.
I agree.
If you can't be a police officer, don't be a fucking police officer.
That's right.
Go work at Starbucks. You know what? Hobby Lobby. You get off on Sunday. Fucking shit, man. Anyway, I swear I'm mad. Police identified another victim, Kelly Garrett, from a videotape which was dated from 1996. Not only did he write about this in his diary, but he recorded them as well.
God.
Which is another reason why they landed on the number 60. I'm sure all of that. I am confident they left shit out of even the FBI webs. I guarantee shit wasn't included.
Yeah.
I guarantee shit wasn't included.
Exactly.
Then the amount of items that they took from the house from people is unreal.
Oh,
Kelly Garrett.
Sorry, all the pictures.
Yep, we'll talk about it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's okay. Kelly Garrett was found alive in Colorado after police identified her from a tattoo on her ankle, which is once more why there had to have been a video of the actual attack on her. Mm-hmm. She testified that she had gotten in a fight with her husband and decided to spend the night, not like sleep, like go play pool with friends. Ray's daughter, Jessie, who knew Garrett, took her to the Blue Water Saloon in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, and may have drugged the beer she was drinking. She offered Kelly a ride home, but instead took Kelly to her father's house. So she actively was finding women and taking them.
No.
Finding them and taking them.
Fuck her.
Ray told her husband, she went through 2 days of torture before he drove her back to her home. Ray told her husband that he found the woman incoherent on a beach.
What?
Her husband sort of sounds like a fucking prick because he didn't believe that she couldn't remember where she had been. And Kelly said that she didn't know what to tell the police, so she didn't contact him. She had been drugged. She didn't know. She didn't even know what to say. Her husband ended up filing for divorce, and Kelly moved to Colorado. So I'm pretty sure that blew up her life as well.
Yeah.
If I went missing for 2 days and I was incoherent, but if she was tortured too, I'd be like, what the fuck happened to my body? Like, if Travis wasn't hugging me, assuming that I wasn't off being crazy, like they got in a fight and she went to go play pool. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, I don't really care for Kelly Garrett's ex-husband. I don't know if I have any right to, but I don't really vibe him.
I agree.
The FBI sent 100 agents to examine Ray's property and surroundings, but no identifiable human remains were found. While awaiting trial, Ray spoke to FBI profiles and said that he was fascinated by the kidnapping of Colleen Stan and other sexually motivated kidnappings. Colleen Stan is an American woman who was kidnapped and held as a sex slave by Cameron and Janice Hooker. We remember the names. I remember the Hookers.
Mm-hmm.
In their Red Bluff, California home for over 7 years. From 1977 and 1984. At Cameron's trial, Stan's experience was described as unparalleled to anything in FBI history.
Yeah.
Of
anything.
Of anything.
Yeah.
While Cameron was found guilty on multiple charges and sentenced to 104 years in prison. But anyway, the FBI had spoken to Ray as early as 1989 in connection with his business manufacturing and selling bondage-related sexual devices. Obviously, nothing came of that. Note ever so quickly that trailer would have been there at the time and was just sitting on his property, and there could have been someone in there.
Yeah, they could.
It's like my RV being parked outside my house.
Yeah, go to the fucking house.
A judge ruled that the cases for crimes against Cynthia Vigil, Angelica Montano, and Kelly Garrett would be severed, which meant that Ray would be tried for each separately. Prosecutors said this damaged their case, as each woman's story would otherwise have corroborated and bolstered the other person's account. The entire court process also pisses me off. I feel like the judge wanted this to fail, and I have no fucking clue why. The judge also ruled much of the evidence found in the trailer during the 1999 raid could not be admitted in the Garrett and Montano cases, including Ray's audio tape in which he gave detailed descriptions of his abducting and torturing habits.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't do it.
I know.
Okay.
But can you understand that there's a 44-minute tape where he explains how he is going to torture you, and that the tape was recorded in 93 and it is 97? And how many women have heard that tape before he murdered them? And you're saying it's not conducive in court?
Yeah.
How?
I don't get any of that.
How is the 401 photos on the FBI website of items belonging to other people was not included?
That's insane. I don't get any of that.
I don't either.
The basis of any of it.
The first trial for crimes against Kelly Garrett resulted in a mistrial after 2 jurors said they found her story was unbelievable.
Shut up.
I swear to God.
What, all dudes?
No, you can't be.
Oh.
It has to be of your peers. So it has to be.
Oh.
So it would have been split however they did it, but it wouldn't have been all guys. And I'm like, oh, is it because you couldn't? Oh, I'm sure it was because it was Kelly's fault. It's Kelly's fault that she went to a bar that night to play pool. It's always our fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for this shit.
No.
Ray's defense was that the sex trailer was part of his fantasy life and it was all consensual.
Really?
Yes. But we can all breathe a little easier because after a retrial, Ray was convicted on all 12 counts.
Good.
Thank God. A week into his trial for crimes against Cynthia Vigil, Ray agreed to a plea bargain and was sentenced in 2001 to 224 years in prison for numerous offenses in the abduction and sexual torture of the 3 young women at his Elephant Butte home. The plea deal was to obtain leniency for his daughter.
Why?
Prosecutors stated that their surviving victims had approved of the deal. Ray's daughter, Glenda Jean Jessie Ray, was charged with kidnapping and criminal sexual penetration. She pled no contest and received a 30-month sentence.
That's it?
With an additional 5 years to be served on probation. You would get less than that for a fucking 5 DUIs.
That's what I was going to say.
30-month sentence. And literally, if you got 5 DUIs, you're damn near looking at the same shit.
Yeah.
Slap on the wrist. In 1999, a 27-year-old accomplice, Dennis Roy Yancey, pleaded guilty to the 1997 murder of the 22-year-old Marie Parker. Yancey confessed to helping Jessie Ray lure Parker into captivity in her father's trailer. Yancey said that Parker was tortured and that Ray forced him to strangle the woman to death. Prosecutors know that no forensic evidence was found to tie Parker to the Rays. So David Yancey is the one who's charged with kidnapping, 2 accounts of conspiracy to commit a crime, and tampering with evidence. He is sentenced to 30 years. And the Rays were not charged at all in her murder. Just so you know, in 2010, Yancey was paroled after serving only 11 years in prison for brutally torturing and killing a woman and hiding her body. But the release was delayed due to difficulties in negotiating a plan for his residence afterwards.
Yeah, who wants to take in that stray cat?
Right. 3 months after his release in 2011, Yancey was charged with violating his parole. He was remanded to custody, where he remained until 2021, serving the rest of his original sentence. Took him 4 fucking seconds to fuck his shit up.
Yeah, sounds like it.
In 2000, Cindy Hendy, an accomplice who testified against Ray, received a sentence of 36 years for her role in the crimes. What? She was scheduled to receive parole in 2017 and was released in July of 2019 after serving the 2 years of her parole in prison. She is now like 64, 65 and is living in Kent, Washington since July of 2019. There's a beautiful news article about how the neighbors are pissed the fuck off.
Yeah.
And how they didn't understand how they weren't informed that someone as dangerous as this was in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Let me tell you some even more fucking treats on this. Because I'm really just here to piss in everyone's fucking Cheerios.
I feel like you are.
I am pissing in the Cheerios. Not only is this the worst shit we probably ever fucking heard, but no one got fucking anything for it.
Yeah.
30 months.
Yeah.
The daughter got 30 fucking months.
That's so.
And you know what? Okay.
Unbelievable.
I'm just going to hold on. This bitch is listed as a level 2 offender.
How?
A level 2 sex offender is defined as people who have a moderate risk of reoffending. They generally have more than one victim and the abuse may be long-term. The offenders usually groom their victims and may use threats to commit their crimes. These crimes may be predatory, with the offender using a position of trust to commit their crimes. Typically, these individuals do not appreciate the damage they have done to their victims. However, this is not the highest tier for sex offenders. Tell me how the fuck this bitch didn't get the highest tier of a sex offender.
I don't know. I don't know.
This is how rowdy I was at 5 a.m. doing this shit. Getting fucking litty kitty pissy.
Yeah.
As if this case couldn't disappoint you more. On May 28th of 2002, Ray was taken to the Lea County Correctional Facility in Hobbs, New Mexico, to be questioned by state police. I read that he was going to tell them where the victims' bodies were. Like, all of them. He was going to tell them all. He was going to
tell everybody.
He was finally ready to fucking talk. He died of a fucking heart attack before he got there.
Shut your fucking mouth.
No bullshit. He didn't serve 1 year in prison. He died in 2002 of a heart attack.
That's horseshit.
My blood pressure is through the fucking roof.
I know.
So there's no confirmation of anything that, like, any of it.
Those poor this is so, I hate this.
I hate this too. The diary that Ray kept detailed what he did to each victim, but as you said, it didn't disclose where he had buried the bodies or their names. According to Cindy Hendy, Ray's fatal victims were dismembered and buried, dumped in the Elephant Butte Lake or nearby ravines. She wasn't able to pinpoint where this would have taken place. Therefore, no bodies were found. The Albuquerque FBI in 2011 released 401 images to be exact, of images of items that were collected during the investigation of Ray. The FBI believes some of the items, which included jewelry and clothes, may have been taken from the victims. Did you end up looking through them? I looked through every single photo. There were boys' underwear in there, and there were women's underwear with blood on it.
I didn't. Yeah,
and
I couldn't look through all of them.
Name tags, people's name tags, like from work.
Yeah,
it was probably the most like gut wrenching part of it. It made me so sad.
That's why I had.
It made me so sad. I mean, over 400 images of items that were from lost women and men that we will never know. We will never know who it was.
Yeah.
Obviously, the FBI is hoping that someone would see that and remember it. All of it seems like it was really, it's not jewelry you saw a lot, but I also am like, if I had my mom look and she's like, oh, a lot of people had that necklace in the 70s, you know? Cynthia Vigil later founded Street Safe New Mexico, which is a volunteer harm reduction nonprofit that works with sex workers and other vulnerable people living on the street. She did this with another woman named Christine Barber. That's literally the only semi-shining hope in this fucked up, terrible story of the toy box killer and his shitty ass playmates.
I hate all of that.
Yes.
That is so fucked up.
It is.
Fuck him. Fuck his daughter.
Fuck his friend.
His friends.
Fuck everybody.
Yes.
Fuck the police. Fuck that fucking off-duty fucking cop.
Yeah.
Fuck whoever took the phone call. Fuck the fucking FBI person who didn't do shit.
A lot of chances were missed.
Oh,
like a
so
shit ton.
many. So many. I couldn't imagine going through something like this and telling the cops, which is already hard enough for me to do.
Yeah.
And then to have them not believe you.
Yeah.
How utterly
Or your
terrible.
husband leave you. Anyway.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Or, yeah. Yes. Yes. All of this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
We're happy we could start our new season
Yes.
by just pissing in the Cheerios.
Yeah, we definitely took a big old pee.
A big OP, a
Big-
morning pee.
A big.
One of them dark yellow ones.
I needed to laugh after that.
I did too. Y'all
Damn
remember,
it.
don't get mad.
Get sassy.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.
This episode was sponsored, edited, and produced by Wonderboy Media. Get the deets at WBOYmedia.com to see how you can make your podcast dreams a reality.
Help us out and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to our audio project. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at, of course, A Couple of Sassholes.
Want more sass? Become a member of our Patreon for bonus content, merch, and more. Plus, we're on Cameo now, so there's even more ways to get the sass you need just how you like it. As always, don't get mad.
Get sassy.
Theodore, can I bet that guy?